Hello everyone and welcome back to Islands of Wanyama, episode 4. I'm yoyosmugglerr and it's great to have you guys back. Got a lot done in between episodes and we'll see the final result here at the end of the episode, but very happy with how much work we got done. I've been putting this entrance plaza off for what feels like forever, even though we've only been in we've only had the game for a week now. So at the time of recording it's Monday, so when this uploads it'll be exactly a week. And very happy with how far we've gotten though within this first week. With planning Coaster I kind of not necessarily struggled, but was just always kind of hesitant on what to build and when to build, and just kind of went back and forth. But I'm very proud that I was able to actually stick with the getting the entrance done here, not just hopping straight into the park and throwing down some animals, because it's been killing me to throw down some animals. But yeah, so we're right now we're working on the entrance, and I put this big giant gate in, and I love this piece so much. I knew I had to work it in somehow. Plus, like I said in the first episode, we're basing this entryway off of the Islands of Adventure entryway, and their little port of entry entrance area has this big gate in the middle of it as well. It's right in the middle of all their ticket booths, so I definitely wanted to try to recreate that if I could. And seeing as this is our only gate piece, it worked fine. I could have custom made it to make it look a little bit more identical, but I don't want to try to make just like a one-for-one recreation of the entranceway from Islands of Adventure. I definitely wanted to put, put my own style on it, just kind of, draw some tips from the actual entrance itself. So I'm not sure if you guys can tell or not, but the zoo gate that we have here, it keeps loading in. It's got this really bad quality on it, so you can see like the edges are kind of grainy, whereas like, or I should say the arch is kind of grainy, where the actual sides are good quality. Yeah, so this is perfect timing actually. So I'm not exactly sure what this issue is, but for some reason when I put down pieces with texture in them, it doesn't necessarily happen with wall pieces or anything like that. It's always sort of like props or like wall decorations, but when I put them down, we'll pause that thought, but you can see right now the zoo arch is loaded fine and then it goes away just like that. But yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what the issue is, but it does that all the time with props and wall decorations. I'll place them down and it'll come out in bad quality, but if I leave them for a while and come back, play the game, come back to it, eventually they load in fine. Or like if I make a save and then I come back in, they'll load in fine just as well. But yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what the problem is. I don't think it's my settings. I've checked my settings multiple times. I think you actually see me check my settings in a little bit. But I have my settings on the ultra preset ultra settings, and I've never really had any issue with settings as far as graphics go in any other game so far. Planet Coaster didn't have a problem or anything like that. And so I actually went in and I changed my settings from ultra to low, the preset low, just to see if that would change anything, and it didn't change the way the game looked at all. So I'm not sure if the game just automatically, kind of auto updates or whatever, just kind of, gives you the best graphics that it can. But yeah, everything was still fine in it, but I was still getting that, where the textures weren't loading in. So I'm not sure if if it's a bug or a glitch, if other people are experiencing it. So if you are, definitely let me know, because it's kind of frustrating, and I'm not sure if there's a workaround for it, or if there's something I need to change in my settings, that I just, maybe it's just like a check, a box that I need to check on or off or whatever. But it is getting kind of frustrating, because there are times where I put some pieces down because I'm still getting used to the game, still looking at the pieces, and still trying to figure out where everything's at. So sometimes I'll just go through the pieces itself and just kind of check on them and check everything out. And I place them down, and sometimes I'm like, I don't really like that piece, and that's mostly because the textures probably aren't loaded in. So it is a little frustrating, but rant aside, hopefully that we'll figure it out soon. But we start working on our actual entrance building here next to the gate. So you can see on the left-hand side, it's pretty much got its basic shape form. I went ahead and cut it because I was just trying to fiddle around with how I wanted this actual entrance, shape to be. I definitely knew I wanted to have some arches in it because my hometown, St. Louis Zoo, they actually have two entrances. One's on the north side, one's on the south side, I believe, and they're both on opposite ends of the park from each other. And I don't know which entrance it is, but one of the entrances has a bunch of arches like this, and I just always thought that was a really cool, entranceway for a zoo. I know a lot of zoos have arches, but I just wanted to kind of throw that in there for us, and I really liked how it kind of wrapped around that semicircle that we have there. So yeah, so you know, just kind of with that being said, just kind of also trying to figure out, you know, how I wanted to do the actual building. I didn't know if I should make the actual rooms, you know, 1x1 or 2x2 shaped, but I wound up going with this 2x1 here because it kind of gives you a little hallway when you're walking through, and I really liked the way that the finished product turned out. Excuse me. But yeah, so I go ahead and you can see I have arches and then I have window walls as well. So we're going to throw some info boosts in those square holes in just a little bit. I went back and forth on if I should throw ticket boosts in, or I should say info boosts. They're going to act as ticket boosts, but I went back and forth. I just didn't know if I should have all of these as walkways through to get to the actual park. But the amount of arches that I had, it just seemed a little excessive, and it didn't look right with the pathing. So we go ahead and we throw some info boosts in here. And those are going to act as our ticket boost. So we're not actually going to charge admission for the zoo. It's going to be free, just like the St. Louis Zoo. But those ticket boosts, or those info boosts, are going to act as ticket boosts. And so if you want to come in and if you have like a membership or something like that, or if you want to buy, you know, certain tickets for the day's activity or anything like that, you can pick those up there. So like the St. Louis Zoo, they have their free admission, and basically they have these ticket booths at entrances where you can go up and you can buy memberships. You know, memberships include stuff like, you know, all the things they have admission or attractions that cost. And so if you have like an actual membership, you can, you know, that basically all that stuff is free for your visit. So if you want to ride the train, you can buy some tickets for it, or the Sea Lion show, or you know, you get free parking, anything like that. So I figured those will just kind of act like, you know, ticket booths / guest services for the time being. But I do want to add in a possibly a guest service building off to the side, because our entrance plaza is almost about done. If you're walking up the stairs off to the right, we haven't completed that yet, just because I'm not exactly sure which direction I want to go with that. So we left that open for now, and I didn't want to waste too much time trying to decide what I wanted to do, so that way we could get into the actual park itself. Right now we're throwing in a rooftop garden, and very happy with how this turned out as well. I wasn't really sure on the actual top of the building, so I had those log pieces up top for the top of the walls. I really wanted to try to get some like busted, falling apart rocks or sandstone, whatever that piece is that we use for the actual base. But unfortunately, just there's nothing in the game that quite looks like it, and that's why there's a couple different cuts right in the middle of me building, or you know, trying to figure out the actual shape of the building. Just because I was looking for something that maybe could fake the rocks falling apart or the bricks falling apart, and I just didn't find anything decent. I just wanted, you know, I just didn't want a straight, flat top there. So I went with those logs, and then try to cover up the, you know, where the logs and the sandstone bricks meet with some other wooden poles running horizontally. So yeah, so I figured the rooftop garden would work well with the logs that we're placing down here. And this is where it starts to become a little funky as far as biomes and plants are concerned. So like I said in the first episode, I wasn't sure exactly of the location of the park that I wanted to do. I really wanted to do a Midwestern park, just because that's where I'm located. But I also really love, you know, the tropical plants and everything like that. So I was wondering maybe we can get away with, you know, going down south to like Florida or something like that. So I'm still not exactly sure. You know, when I place these plants down, I was like, all right, we're gonna be in a tropical biome, like, you know, not necessarily tropical, but we're gonna be in a Florida biome. Just because I love the way these tropical plants work, especially with the whole theming that I'm going for here at the entrance, and especially since our name is Islands of Wanyama. So, you know, you got that islands in there, and I really wanted to, you know, keep with that tropical theme here. But I'm thinking, because, man, I was playing around with the snow today, and it just looks so good. I'm like, man, once these exhibits get in, I have to, you know, throw some snow down. So I'm not sure if the snow is going to be completely canon or not. So I'm thinking maybe if we still want to go with a Midwestern zoo, we could possibly say that all these plants are just fake and just for show, you know, type of thing. So yeah, so still open about that. You know, we can flip-flop back and forth on where we want to be located, I guess. But yeah, we're just throwing in some ivy now, just kind of making the place look a little dirtied up and weathered in. Just trying to, you know, get as much texture on it, breaking up the sandstone, you know, breaking it up as much as we can here. I do want to mention these sunshades that we're looking at right now. I can't forget, or I should say, I can't remember who built these sunshades. But I will go ahead and leave a link down in the description below. And once we get to the live portion, I'll try to see if I can get his name pulled back up or her name pulled back up. Because, like I said, I was trying to get some sunshades in over the arches, just like Islands of Adventure does, because they have just sunshades over their ticket booths. I was trying to get those in, not necessarily replicate it, but just I definitely wanted to have that sunshade element in there. Man, I was just having the hardest time trying to figure out how to work some sunshades in. There's a couple different sunshade pieces in the game, but I just could not get the angle that I wanted at all, and I spent a decent hour, maybe hour and a half, trying to figure out how to get these things the way that I wanted them to. So I was extremely frustrated by it, and I was like, you know what, forget it, we're going to go to the workshop and see if I can find some. And luckily, this guy or girl had uploaded it, and not only did they upload one, they actually uploaded 5 different variations of it, but I was super happy with it. I did go ahead and change it a little bit just to fit the style more. But theirs is great regardless. I just wanted, you know, it to fit in my area a little bit better. So I'll definitely leave a link down in the description below for those, because they were definitely a lifesaver. I'm not normally going to pull a whole bunch of stuff off the workshop, just because, you know, I want stuff that we build to be ours, and, you know, not that we're just like throwing in stuff. So we're not going to throw in, you know, big buildings or anything like that, or, you know, already made habitats. Just small things here and there, like I said last episode, if I can find a decent picnic table for inside that we can throw inside our cafe, then we may go ahead and do that route, just to save us some time, so that way I don't have to fiddle with stuff, because it's not, like I said, it's not necessarily something we're going to see anyways. So just, you know, small things like that I'm okay with, actually, you know, pulling stuff from the workshop. But yeah, so we go ahead and we throw on an exit building over here. Unfortunately, the peeps in the game aren't going to actually know that this is an exit only, and they may actually walk in. I'm hoping they're not going to walk in this way, due to the fact that it's more of a longer route as far as length goes, you know, considering where they're coming from. So I don't think we'll have a problem with them walking through the exit only, and if they do, oh well, it's not the end of the world here. But my biggest issue with it is just I just don't think they're going to actually use this as an exit, because it's just kind of out of the way compared to where our main strip is going to be from entering and exiting the park. So they're probably just going to walk right back out the arches, unfortunately. But I did want to add this on. This is another inspiration from Islands of Adventure. They have this really, really cool, it's almost like a castle looking side building type thing over to the left hand side, and it just looks really awesome. It's kind of like worn down, and like it's almost like it's been in a battle of some sort, like, you know, somebody, like some pirates shot some cannons at it or something, but it's really just falling apart, and it looks so cool. So we go with a wooden top again, just to try to give it some, you know, height variation over here. And we give, I think this building, yeah, we give this building like a castle, the actual castle top, so it gives us some more height depth. It doesn't look the best, I will say that, but we're working with what we got. I would have loved to have been able to build the castle things out of some sort of sandstone bricks, but just the problem with the game, or with Planet Zoo I should say at the moment, is just that the pieces that we have, just none of them are really recolorable, and it's really frustrating, because I feel like the pieces that are recolorable aren't necessarily pieces that we would need to recolor or anything like that. So like a lot of the pillars, and you know, just small things like that that we can use for other things, just they're not recolorable, and it's a little frustrating. But other than that, we're gonna make it work. So we throw in the top of this castle wall here, and we're gonna kind of cover that line up where they meet with another big pillar. And this is another thing I wish we could have recolored. I would have loved to have had this more of that sandy color as well, just so it kind of blended more, or even more of a darker gray, just anything to get it to blend a little bit better. But alas, it's not recolorable, so we roll with what we have, and we're just gonna throw that in there. Go ahead and just throw a little fence on here that goes next to this wooden top over here. Wanted to give it more height variation, but I didn't want it to look quite like the actual castle top itself, but I wanted to kind of give it that feel, that castle feel, just so it kind of blended a little bit better. Very happy with how this lattice roofing top came out, actually. I was worried that it wasn't going to work with me and look as good as it does in person. So happy we went that route. Throwing on some of these giant animal doors, because in real life the building itself has a big garage door. So I'm assuming it's some sort of staff building in real life. I'm not 100% sure. I think it may actually be some sort of like a gift shop, but we're actually going to use it in our park as a staff building for or a maintenance building, sort of, for power and electricity. And I absolutely love these African poles. They're very, very helpful in trying to create an adventures themed, because we don't really have adventure themed pieces, but we have African and Japanese pieces, and those both lend themselves, I think, when you combine them, that they kind of give you an adventure style feel. So those two themes are really helping me out, along with the Indian theming as well. So all three of those kind of they're just combining really well to try to give me a makeshift adventure theme. So we're just pulling a whole bunch of pieces from every single pack that we can, just to try to make some sort of adventure type. And there we go. We finally get those sorted out. The pathing was giving me a little bit of trouble there. It was like it was telling me that it was uneven or it wasn't uneven. I couldn't really decide, but when I was placing them, they're acting weird. So I was finally able to get those sorted out, and we threw some doors on the front so that it looks like they're accessible. Unfortunately, the mechanics will just clip through there, but not that big of a deal there. But yeah, so I'm not necessarily that I want them to break down, but when they do break down, they'll have some people over there walking, so it'll look pretty active over there regardless. So yeah, just kind of finishing this end off and throwing some gates on here, so that way peeps don't walk through it. So it's not necessarily an accessible door for them, regardless if they actually come over there or not. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave this time lapse here. We're almost done, and we'll jump into a live portion. It's a pretty big difference from the end of the time lapse to the live portion. So let's go ahead and we'll jump in and check out what we got done. Alright guys, and we're out of time lapse here, so we're going to go ahead and start on the this side of the bridge for now. So we're going to go into this tunnel right now, and basically we're just going to start head on. So went ahead and after the time lapse build, I went ahead and did a whole lighting overhaul. It was just something that I'd been neglecting doing, so I went ahead and wasted about an hour or so doing some lighting, and we went ahead and started in here through some lights in this hallway, because it can get pretty dark there at night. So as soon as we walk out here, we can see some of the new lighting as well as our new sign up there. So we'll look over to the left though in just a little for now, and we'll look at some of the animals that we got in here. So we added in some of these wall animals just to kind of break up the wood. Just because I felt like they were just still just a little bit too much, wood going on there, and went ahead and threw in these logs as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and we'll walk up the stairs here and check out our sign that we got. So this is our whole entrance plaza, as well as our Islands of Wanyama sign. So I'm not exactly sure on how I feel about it. So I absolutely love this font. It's so awesome. And paired with these African poles back here and these wooden, I think they're just logs. Yep, yeah, they're just logs. I just think it looks so awesome. It looks very tropical, and I just love the way that came out, how it's just kind of standing up there, but you can see we got these little support beams in there as well. Really loved how that turned out when it comes to realism. But as far as this little logo over here, so this is our Islands of Wanyama logo that we have, our little graphic logo at the beginning of each episode in our intro. So I try to recreate that as close as I possibly could using art shape pieces. Unfortunately, just didn't come out as I would have liked it to. So right now it's just kind of a placeholder. I'm not 100% sold on it. I'm just kind of going back and forth on whether I like it or not, or if it's just an eyesore. So like I said, just more of a placeholder, but it just can't make up my mind on whether I like it or not to even be a placeholder. But yeah, so we got our little palm trees behind here as well. So this is where it's, like I said, we're gonna get a little messy with the biomes and the planting on realism. So got our our two big palm trees behind our logo, just like we do in the actual graphic that we have on the openings. Fun fact, I don't know if you can tell or not, but this little D right here, there's this line going down it. There is not a large alphabet D, so definitely need to bring that to Frontier's attention. I had to actually make this D using a large I alphabet piece, and a large O alphabet piece, and then just kind of had to, rotate the O and fiddle with it just to where I could get it kind of looking like a D. But yeah, very happy with how this looks. I did initially have it in this little central flower bedding here, but I just thought it took up way too much space, and it just kind of hid this beautiful arch that we have in the background, and it was just kind of way in your face. So I went ahead and moved it over here to the right, which is great because I'm not exactly sure of what direction I want to take with this over here. So this kind of gets us started, moving in that direction. But yeah, let's go ahead and we'll look at these flower beds. Really love how these little lamp pieces turned out. Looking at it now, they kind of look like a little much, so I may take some of them out. But just really happy with the actual piece itself. It's three different pieces. This is just like an African bin or something. I'm not exactly sure. Not a trash bin, but just like a bin or a pot holder or something. I'm not exactly sure what the name of it is. But then there's the square piece, which is an actual lantern of some sort, an African lantern, and then we got the Asian lantern on top of it as well. And it gives off a really nice warm glow at night. And we'll turn on the night mode probably in a little bit here just to see all the lighting that I did, because I went ahead and wasted a whole bunch of time doing it, but it was something that needed to get done. So yeah, so let's go ahead and we'll take a closer look at our little entrance buildings and our ticket booths. So I just absolutely love these sunshades. Like I said in the time lapse, I went ahead and we'll back up there so we don't have info booth music playing in our ears. But I went ahead and changed it up just a little bit, these shades, just to kind of fit in better. So I went ahead and threw in these African poles. I may throw in a base around that. I'm not 100% sure. They kind of look unfinished, but I didn't want to take up too much of the space on the ground. Just because like I said, we have them in between here, so don't want to get it too messy and too cluttered up. But yeah, these sunshades are just absolutely fantastic, and I'll go ahead and I'll leave a link in the description below. But these sunshades were made by SgtRedChilli. So like I said, he or she made 5 different versions of them. If you just click on his workshop, they should pull them all up, or if you just go to the Planet Zoo workshop and just type in sunshades, they're the only things that pull up. So I'll leave a link in the description to one of them. I used the 3-shade version that gives you different height variations, and then I used the 1-shade versions in the middle there. And then I just went ahead and recolored them all as well. So love the way that those turned out, and I love the way this ivy turned out on the building as well here. Just looks really worn in and grown in, so I'm loving it. So here we got our entrance art. See, the textures are loading in just fine, so no issues there because it's been placed for a while now. And then we move on over here, and this is basically just the same as the building on the right-hand side. Really enjoy these little African awnings. Yeah, they're awnings. It just looks. That's the style when I was talking about the top of the roof here. How I just wanted some different shape in there. So just wanted to try to get something other than just some straight lines in. And then on this side, so on the other side, you can walk through it. But on this one, I just wanted to kind of close this off because the pathing was giving me a fit, and it just wasn't. It's connected. It did connect, but I went ahead and deconnected it. Unconnected? I'm not sure. Removed it, whatever. But I really wanted to have all of the pathing in here, this type of stone. So you can see as soon as you cross that, once you step on this, you're actually in the park here. So they all have that all the way around, but for some reason, I was doing the same exact thing as that building over there, but for some reason this wanted to bring this type of stone all the way in there, and it was just bothering me too much, so I just went ahead and covered it up with some limestone, and we got it closed off. For maybe it's under repair or something like that, or it's getting some maintenance done. But yeah, we got some more of the sunshades on this side as well, and I really love these hanging vines. I can't remember the actual name of them, but they're like dead vines or something, and I think the animals can crawl on them. but I just really love how we got some height in there, as you know, walking over the path, some path interaction, or walking under the path, I should say. So we got some path interaction there before you walk into the actual zoo, and I believe we have one on that side as well. So yeah, we got our flower bed that connects our little exit building, and I just really love how this turned out, especially with the ivy thrown on there. It definitely looks worn in, and these rock pillars thrown in. So that's kind of the vibe that I was going for up top, but I just, you know, wasn't able to get it to how I wanted it. So we went with the logs. I'm just really happy with how this turned out as well. The exit sign is a little finicky. I was having a hard time finding a thin one. This is really the only thin one that they have, so I got two different exit signs here, one for exit, one for only, and just kind of space them out appropriately. And these turnstiles are fantastic as well. So I was trying to go back and forth on whether or not I wanted turnstiles, since we technically don't have tickets or anything like that. But I really liked the idea of having turnstiles, just so that way they could count, you know, how many visitors they had for the day or something like that. So I didn't want to try it myself because I knew I would spend hours trying to eventually build something that didn't look like a turnstile. So I went ahead and just, you know, tried the workshop and was able to find them on the workshop. So these turnstiles were actually made by Blue Spirit, and I'll go ahead and I'll put a link in those as well down in the description. But yeah, just another one of those things where I didn't want to spend too much time making them, and one of those things that probably isn't even going to be used by the guests or anything like that, since they're probably not going to walk down this pathway. But it looks nice, and I just thought it looked really cool underneath there. So we got our lighting as well above the staff doors here. So we'll go around, and then we got the staff building also, and I went ahead and connected this pathing up, so it doesn't necessarily go, I don't know if this, yeah, it doesn't technically connect inside there, but, you know, it kind of looks like it does from afar, and then this pathing will connect up back here to our cafe back entrance as well. So this staff shouldn't be used by, or this path shouldn't be used by the staff, since they both lead to dead ends technically. So I went ahead and threw this animal door in, and we flipped it, and then we sunk it, so it looks kind of like a gate would swing open. So let's go ahead and we'll turn around, and we got all of this foliage done as well in front of the cafe. This is another thing that I was kind of putting off as much as I could. But yeah, just filling in a whole bunch of small green triangles just to try to make it look, you know, filled out. So really like how this all turned out. We went ahead and threw in another lake as well, just because I didn't want to do more foliage and more just basic rock work of the same pattern. So went ahead and threw in a little lake in here, so you can kind of see it runs into these rocks over here. And if you turn around, you can kind of see that all the water's coming out here. We got a little opening, so it's definitely man-made and manufactured looking. But I figured instead of having the waterfall start right here where it initially did, that water would then filter down through here, and then they would just cycle back through. So really happy with how all this turned out. I know it's a little bit of a contrast in between styles between the cafe and the adventure theme that we have going on here. So I was, you know, we're just gonna roll with it though, you know, because maybe I'm thinking maybe that this cafe was like a later edition or something, and they wanted to go a little bit more modern. I'm not exactly sure what the storyline is there or the lore for it, but we're gonna swing with it for the time being. I don't think it looks too out of place, but you know, it is kind of a nice juxtaposition as well. So let's go ahead and we'll see if we can get the game UI turned on here and go into some night mode. We could look at all the lighting that we did as well. Alright, so we got the lighting on the sign, because you could barely see that at night, so I definitely wanted to make sure that was lit up. Got our stairways lit up as well, and I really love how this sign looks at night also. Went ahead and threw in a whole bunch of lighting down here so it would shine up for you guys. And then yeah, just this really, these lamps, I love these lamps so much. They give off a nice warm glow. I really wanted to use the African fire lamps that they have. I think it was African. It was either African or Indian, I'm not sure. But I really wanted to use those circular fire lamps that they have for these little, not necessarily, I wasn't going to use these pots with them, but I was going to use them on these brick stones. But I was like, no, that's not realistic. It's definitely a fire hazard. Somebody's going to catch on fire. So I decided to go with the more realism route and went with these safer lanterns here. But yeah, we went ahead and threw some lighting in here as well, just to kind of light up these hallways. Looks very, very cool, if I do say so myself. And we got some lighting in here also, just to kind of light it up, and we went ahead and threw one of these hanging fluorescent lights and just kind of hid it behind our exit only signs. That way, we don't have any issues with people tripping or running into these turnstiles. And then we also went ahead and added some of these really cool floor lighting as well. Those are the lights that we have. They're some sort of like spotlight, but I think they look really cool sunk into the ground like this. So we went ahead and added those on this little pathway here, and then we added them both sides leading up to the cafe as well. And we added some lighting also up here and then down here just to kind of light up the Wanyama cafe. Went ahead and changed the wording of Wanyama from blue to orange. Just thought it looked a little bit better. We added some lighting down here as well to make sure these stairs were lit up. And then we got some lighting up top here also for our little patio for the cafe. As well as we lit up the inside of the actual restaurant itself. So yeah, so we got our signs in there also, if you can see or not. Just kind of label it, give it a little bit more detail. Then we added these trellises in here too, just because they provided a really good place to mount these lightings, because this slant roof was just giving me a little bit trouble with lighting, so I went ahead and added these trellises in, and I think it gives a little, gives a decent amount of detail, and it kind of matches the style and all that. So I'm very happy with how those turned out also. So we'll head back out here, and that's basically gonna do it for us, guys. Very happy with how much work we got. Oh my gosh, that waterfall is so loud here. Let's go ahead and exit Tejicam. There we go. But yeah, very happy with how much work we were able to get done. So I'm thinking that next episode we actually... I can't get rid of this. There we go. Next episode, I think we're gonna... I'm gonna work on this area over here, or I may do that off camera. So there may be a building or something here when we come back. But I'm thinking next episode we're gonna actually start working on the actual park itself. So we're finally into the park. We're going to go ahead and come down here as our main strip. I don't want to go too far down. I definitely want to wrap this pathing in as quickly as possible, and then just kind of get a short shoot, because I don't want to spend too much time working on the main entrance buildings here, because like I said, I really want to get into building some habitats here. So I think that's about going to do it for this episode, guys. Can't believe we're already 4 episodes in the first week. I'm very happy with the amount of work that we're getting done, though. So be sure to leave a like and a comment and let me know if you enjoyed something or didn't enjoy something. And of course, subscribe for more Planet Zoo content in the near future. Take care, guys. See you soon.